Hello everybody, it's Arash Salehi here and today we want to talk about the speed sculpting of the Squirtle in Zbrush and after that painting that. As you see, my approach is different in this week. I started with primitive objects instead of just masking and extruding. I used the cylinder and the sphere as my primitive objects. This is another approach that you can use at the beginning. It's basically to make your limbs and the gesture and the primary shapes. After that, placing the eyeballs, and for this character, because eyeballs are really big and basically it's very tall, it's the sphere eyeball, it doesn't fit that, so I need to make it a little bit like oval shape. And I use, as you see, the formers for the tail, which are available on the 3D gizmo. If you click on the gear button on the 3D gizmo, you can access them. I use taper and curve there. So I increase the resolution of Dynamesh and using the move brush to refine the shapes and forms, and Damage Standard to define the border of different parts of the object, the shell, and the arms, the leg, and using move to tweaking the technique of masking and extruding for the toes. And this character has sharp toes. Moving back the leg a little bit to make the character more balanced. And I push the palm of the hand a little bit inwards. This part has a little bit extra mesh. I use the clay build-up. I use clay build-up to subtract and add. And defining the tail. So it's time to zero mesh here and make locally mesh. I use the polypaint feature in zero mesh here to add more resolution on the fingers and toes. I recover from crash, and I'm wrapping the eye socket around the eyeball, and this character is a little bit angry, so I'm trying to mimic that and create that. And sometimes if you see your Damage Standard brush is not working in some places, if you have two objects besides each other, hide the other one, as I did, hide that eyeball to lets me to draw some strokes inside of that eye sockets. Looking model from different angles. And the benefit of, I'm taking advantage of benefit of low res mesh, going to the lower subdivision level to make the big changes using move brush, and changing to the higher subdivision level to add more detail and defining the detail. Add more definition around the eye socket with standard brush and move brush. And the nose holes. Sometimes when I see the part of the mesh is uneven, the surface, I use the strokes of clay build-up, and after that I smooth it out in different level. I go, first of all, I start from 3 or 4, smooth it out, and gradually go to the higher subdivision level to make sure that everything is nice and working. I saw that the head is very high and this character doesn't have that much of neck, so don't be afraid to make big moves even though you are close to the finishing and finalizing the character. Sometimes you see something, you miss that. Don't be afraid, just move it. And defining the border of the shell. It was a little bit uneven there. I tried to smooth it out. And the patterns and the shell. I hide the tail so I can draw the patterns better. See, again, I'm using clay build-up and a smooth brush to even out the surface. There was a long bump and indentation there, that area. And for this kind of character, the stylized and cute character, it's not acceptable. So again, I am making big moves. See, I'm done with the character, but I did big moves to make the character more stable, because the legs were too much forward. Bring them back from the side view. And I didn't like that basically eye sockets, the placement of them, because they were placing on a flat plane. Although if you look at that eye sockets from the top, they need to basically be on the surface of a curved surface. So I try to mimic that. So right now I'm using a technique that first I select one part of the mesh and clicking on the Shift, Control and X to grow my selection to make a mask for painting. Control Shift and X expands the visibility. And I'm using a standard brush on the RGB mode. If you see on the top left corner, Z add is off and RGB mode is on. It means that right now I can just paint on model without sculpting on that. And I use a standard brush for painting. Back of the shell. I changed the size of the brush in this process. For the places that are close to the other colors, I decrease the size of the brush. The places that are far from the other colors, I increase that. I increase the size of the brush to make it faster, the process. You need to keep making a smaller and bigger the size of brush to get a nice and sharp borders between the different colors that you have in your character. And the material that's used for sculpting was basic material, standard material, sorry. But after that, when I wanted to paint it, because it keeps it helps me to get the colors that I'm looking for, I use skin material. I use a standard material because it really reacts to the lighting and it's very good, and I can see if there's a problem with the forms in the process of sculpting. But for painting and basically wrapping up the project, I switch to the skin material, so it gives me a nicer result for painting and rendering. I use lazy mouse. In this step, the red line that you see is following it's following the brush, and you can access the lazy mouse through the stroke palette, stroke menu on the top. And you can increase or decrease the size of the red line too. It's a good guide for you to see where you are going, and you can anticipate what's going on with your strokes. And I'm starting to painting that eyeball, but I will see that later. I don't like the red color in the eyeball. I need to make it brighter, so I got here to the masking, mask by color. Is a new feature in Zbrush, and I chose my color. I don't know if it was before or not, but it's new to me, and I chose a specific color and try to make it brighter. And this is the final result, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something out of that. Have a great day.